Hey, business building warrior. This is Jim. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I've got a guest who I'll bring on the line in just a moment. It's another successful student from our community who's gone through the proven Amazon course and built an incredible business over the last couple of years. He talks today about how he started out by considering launching a private label brand vitamin supplement thing with his wife. And they decided very quickly they were going to get it over their heads, didn't want to go that route, looked around, did some more research, found this group, found this podcast, started listening, and their life's been changed. He's a huge advocate for forming a mastermind group with others from this group. He did just that. He went through some advanced training with us and some of the other people that went through that training with him. They formed a group together. And those guys were actually on that group was actually on this podcast several episodes ago. We'll stick a link in the show notes today. I hadn't looked it up quite yet, but you can go listen to that group if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about how that group formed and kind of the story before the story that happens today. He's now built an incredible business. He's on course as we're wrapping up November 2022. He's on course to do around $450,000 this year at a nice net profit margin. He talks about all that on the episode today. He's got a team of 4 virtual assistants who are helping him grow his business. They're doing the sourcing and the shopping. He's really dialed it in. He's built a beautiful foundation. He's positioned extremely well to scale in 2023. And he talks about some of the plans that he has for getting brand registered and getting a trademark and working with our team to do some things that he's very excited to do as he continues to grow and expand on these opportunities that he's discovered through this community. And also, I'm excited to announce that he's the latest coach we've added to our team. That's right. Steve Wang is the latest coach. He's in Malaysia. Actually, as we interviewed him today, I think he was in Taiwan visiting some friends. He's typically in Malaysia. So we've got another international coach on our team, someone who lives outside the United States, buying and selling inside the United States. You hear us say all the time on this show, it doesn't matter where you live. Here's yet another example of someone who lives outside the US, buying and selling every day in the US. It's a beautiful business model where you can run your business from anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection. We help students go through that process all the time. We have for years. We're really good at it. So if you need help with that, let us know. We'd love to help you out. You'll hear Steve's story today. I think that's enough of an introduction. From now, you're going to hear the rest of the story from Steve as you get to know him a little bit better, the latest coach on our team. God bless you, business building warrior. Let's jump over and meet Steve right now. So Steve, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for making the time. I know you're doing some traveling, seeing some friends right now. So it's an honor to pull you away for a bit and hear your story. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We started e-commerce, our e-commerce business about 2 years ago. When the pandemic first started, we were in Taiwan, where my family is. And at that time, my wife was thinking about starting a beauty supplement brand, a private label brand. So we still just looked into it. We contacted the manufacturer. I did the research and realized that actually it's a very risky venture, just creating the entire product and brand from scratch. With all these investments, I think it was at that time was quoted $50,000 without even selling one product. Without even knowing if anybody's going to buy it. And also at the same time, I didn't have any experience in e-commerce and online marketing. So I decided that I should look into that part first, learning how to sell online and market a brand potentially. So I researched online for a number of different programs. I actually signed up to a couple before I found Silent Sales Machine. And I say, at the end, I was really glad to have found Silent Sales Machine. I mean, just for the breadth and the depth of the content. I mean, the warmth of the community. I mean, very supportive individuals in the community. You, Jim, of course, and then a variety of different programs that eventually I signed up for. So we started selling in Taiwan, mainly RA, so retail arbitrage, and slowly, gradually moving on to OA, just because we were in the US. And currently we're doing about, I would say 70% OA, 10% RA, and about 20% that's growing in wholesale.
Okay. So
So
you're selling in the US,
yes,
correct? All right. Just
right.
wanted to clarify that. And did you ever actually throw any money into the $50,000 private label supplement concept? Did you lose any money there? How far did you get
No,
down that road?
no, I didn't. It was too daunting. I mean, I
Yeah.
attended a few trade shows. I talked to manufacturers, and I mean, at the end, I think logic won out. It just, spent so much money in it without actually seeing a single sale. I mean, it would have taken like, I think, a year. So it wasn't just the investment of money, but also time.
You really
At the
dodged a
end,
bullet there, Steve, just based on
yeah,
what we've seen, especially we tell new students never go down the private label road. But
yeah,
the riskiest path you can go down if you decide to go ahead and try it anyway as a new seller would be supplements, consumables of some
yeah,
kind. It's
yeah,
just a brutal, brutal path to find yourself on. Even the most experienced sellers with established brands struggle. It's just a bloodbath, man. So
yeah.
yeah, very, very smart. I'm glad you kind of stumbled your way, wandered your way into this community. We're glad to have you as well. So yeah, let's keep the story rolling, man.
Yeah. So we eventually I spent I spent the first year building up the business, and during that time I realized actually we need to kind of scale and structure a system in place. Start to kind of evolve beyond just a side hustle, if you will. And so I signed up to Jimmy Smith's Advanced REPLENS course,
Oh,
which
right.
offer a lot of different tools and roadmap in terms of building a more structured business. And Jimmy was great, kind of walking us through on how to get that done. He's got a lot of experience. There's just a ton of tools that I didn't use all the tools, but just having that mindset, I think, to build a business, working on a business instead of in a business, I think it makes a huge difference. I think somebody said that the more valuable you are to a business, the less valuable you are, or your business is. Just because if all your business is worth is you when you're not around, then your business is worth nothing. So,
I love that. The more
yeah,
valuable you are to your business, the less valuable your business is.
yes,
That's
yes,
beautifully said. I've never heard it before, but that is spot on. Yeah, which encourages you. The way my version of that is only do the things that only you can do. And over time, your job is
yes,
to make that a very short list to the point where you're not needed at all. You've automated,
right,
systemized, right? But that's
right.
that's brilliant. Whoever said that's really smart. I like that person.
Yeah, I was at with a venture capitalist at a conference I attended, and he owned, I think, about 50 businesses. So he saw all the successes and failures, and realized
Yeah,
that he was sharing how important it is to work on the business itself instead of
yeah,
making it become a job. Because
yeah.
at the end, if it's just another job, then
Right,
we're not
right.
going to get a job from a company.
And you
So
gave a shout out to Jimmy Smith there, the Advanced Replens Mastermind. We'll stick a link in the show notes. We formulate that every, I don't know, 6 months or so. We form a group. It's kind
mhm,
of the equivalent of a coaching experience, except it's with a group, and it's only people who are already hitting some basic baseline numbers in their replen business, and they're looking to scale and automate standard operating procedures with another group of students. A very popular program. For those who are interested, there'll be a link in the show notes. Call our coaching office. There's a link for that too. All that's at Silent Jim. Yeah, thanks for giving that a shout out though. Jimmy's put together a brilliant offer there, and he does it live each time we do it. It's live sessions. So very cool. Yeah, thanks for the shout out there.
yeah, of course. Yeah, and I would say one of the biggest benefits that came out of this course, I mean, other than all the tools I shared, was a mastermind group that we formed as students afterwards. So it was a group of us, 5 6 of us that got together about a year ago,
Mhm.
and we still meet on a weekly basis.
Do you?
Yeah.
We got to
So
stick a link to that episode because four of you were on here. For
yes,
anyone who's thinking, hey, that Steve guy looks a little familiar, you were on an episode. I don't remember the episode number. Do you happen to remember? We'll stick it in the show
I,
notes.
I don't actually.
No
Uh,
worries. We'll find it.
yeah,
It's been, I don't know, 100 episodes or so ago, 80 maybe. But yeah, you guys came on, the four of you, but we've been corresponding with you recently and said, hey, let's get you on here for an update and see how things are going. And if I recall correctly, you're talking about doing some coaching with us, maybe?
yes, actually, I just signed up to be a coach a couple of weeks ago. I'm pretty excited about it, learning quite a bit in the process. Hopefully, I can share something useful.
I'm
along the
sure
way.
you will. You've established a beautiful business, and you're doing it from outside the United States, which makes you
Yeah,
even more valuable to our team because there's some extra things you have to navigate there that you've
yeah.
figured out and dialed in, and you're using a prep center exclusively now, correct?
I'm using a couple prep centers
Good.
in the U.S. And depending on the geography, sometimes depending on where you're buying stuff from, one works better than the other.
Right.
And so, yeah, it actually works out great.
So talk me through your process. If you were describing this business to somebody who's, I'm familiar with e-commerce, but what's this replens on Amazon? You're in Taiwan, your business is in the US. Just talk me through the daily workings of this. What's your routine? Who do you have in place? What are their roles? Describe your business to me.
Yeah. So basically, what we do is, we're doing a lot of arbitrage. So, yeah, buy low, sell high. I mean, essentially,
Hmm.
is what we do, and we're doing it all on Amazon. And so when we started, what we've done is mostly we're scouring, we're looking for products that we can buy cheaply online, various different stores. Walmart, Target, what have you, and then we send it into Amazon through our prep center. And so we order them, and the products get shipped to the prep centers, then prep and ship them to Amazon. We also do 10% of our business in FBM. So what we do is we would ship products from overseas. These are overseas products. And we ship them to our prep centers. We then prep them and ship them directly to the customers.
Yeah. So FBM, for those who don't know, merchant fulfill. Instead of sending your inventory to Amazon's warehouse, which is FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, we call merchant fulfill FBM, fulfillment by merchant. You're actually delivering the products when customers place an order, kind of like selling on eBay. Someone places an
Right.
order, you got to ship it yourself. But in this case, you're not shipping it from Taiwan. You're shipping loads at a time to your prep partner,
Right.
basically your storage partner. And we've got a big list of those prep partners for those who aren't aware at prepcenternetwork.com. Big list of prep centers in there. And those guys actually all hang out together. There's a little private Facebook group we set up for all the prep centers that we know of. We invite them in there at no charge, and just so they can collaborate and come up with best practices and better serve our community. Completely free service we provide to help make sure that great students like you, Steve, who live outside the US, who rely very heavily on prep centers, are getting a good experience from those
Right.
centers, helping your business grow. So you're using a couple different ones. That's not unusual. Is it like an East Coast, West Coast thing?
Yeah, I have one in Illinois, so it's more Midwest and
Sure.
California. It worked out great, actually. Initially, someone asked me, why do you use a prep center in California because of taxes? But at the end, it works out. I mean, grocery items are they're tax free, and then if you use a resale certificate, a lot of these items are tax free.
Right.
And yeah, and also the location where our prep center is located, there were a lot of wholesalers that were nearby within an hour drive. So it turned out great as we were growing our wholesale business. As we are growing our wholesale business, we can reach out. We got a huge number of different wholesalers that we can reach out directly and just have them send them locally to our prep center. So
Right. They don't have
yeah,
to pay
so
a
far so
lot for
good.
shipping. Is this mainly California? You finding a lot of wholesalers in California?
Yeah, it's mainly in California and Southern California where I mean sometimes they charge a fee, it's minimum. And there's also on-demand delivery service that we can order. They'll pick up the shipment and just ship it directly to the prep center.
Okay. How focused are you? I haven't heard you use the word replens yet. You used the word
Yeah,
arbitrage. Are you
yeah,
studying Keepa, looking for replens?
yeah. We're still doing a lot of that. There are a few different lists that we work off from in terms of looking for new products to sell on Amazon. At this point, actually, I delegated a lot of that task to my VAs. We have two VAs that are working on leads, and we have two more that are doing restocking. So that sort of takes off a lot of these repetitive tasks off my plate.
Right.
Because whereas before, I would say when we first started, I spent a lot of time just looking for products, looking for listings to sell, and I think that's good in the beginning. I mean, it's a good way to learn the business. But after a while, a lot of these knowledge and skills, they're repeatable. I mean, it's easy to just hand it off to somebody to train somebody and
Yeah.
do something. The same thing. So I get more time doing something more strategic.
If you don't mind sharing about what do you pay your virtual assistants? I'm assuming they're Filipinos.
Yeah. So they're all in the Philippines. We are currently in Malaysia, by the way. So it works out because the time zone is the same. it's easier to get in touch with them. We're paying $4 an hour, and with some bonus in terms of what they find outside of the list. Because most
Right.
most of the qualified leads, as you know, Jim, they're outside of the list. So the VAs need to know how to go about finding new replens outside of
Right.
those lists we get. So
Yes.
we pay
So they're
them,
using the list as like a research starting point. They're
right,
doing
right,
research, finding good replens, finding good inventory, buying it. So these folks that you're paying $4 per hour, where by the way, I feel the need to mention it every single time we talk about virtual assistants in the Philippines. Feel the need to remind everybody that $4 an hour spends about like 25 or $30 per hour in the United States. You got to
right,
multiply that by like 7 or 8 to get the actual number. The
right,
currency translates into the spending power. We
right.
just had one of our success story students turned coach, by the way, turned content creator. She sent me a text earlier today, and her virtual assistant that's getting paid same as yours are, they just bought a beautiful home.
Oh,
And
nice.
they've been saving up and they've been working hard and they're getting, so $4 or $5 an hour, that's a really good job in the Philippines. And it
Right.
adds up fast. So they were all excited and posting online to their friends that they just bought a house. So
Right.
yeah, it's a beautiful arrangement, and it sounds like you've got a great team. So you've got the 4 virtual assistants that run most of the heavy lifting. It sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. And we meet on a weekly basis. I'll be on the Zoom call with them to make sure everything, if they need any support, if there's anything that I need to be aware of, and just kind of go over the week and see how things are going. And they, to a lot of them, they're a couple of stay at home moms.
Mhm.
So to them, these kind of jobs are ideal.
Yeah,
They can work anytime they want. I mean, there's no real urgency in
yeah,
completing a lot of these tasks. So they like that,
flexibility.
and they all, yeah. And this is not the only gig they have. I mean, they have other jobs perhaps in their lives, and of course,
Sure,
as parents, that's a job in itself as well.
of
So
course.
yeah,
Yeah, and I've heard. I was listening to a podcast episode not too long ago, interviewing a Filipino who had a 2-hour commute to work every day, making
uh,
half as much before he became a virtual assistant in our community. He was
right,
commuting 2 hours, didn't get paid for those 2 hours, to earn a
right,
couple dollars per hour, and then 2 hours
right.
home at night. And he was thrilled
That's,
to be
yeah,
making twice as much money and home, flexible, working the hours. Just the gratitude was.
yeah,
It's so amazing how for just a few dollars per hour you can get a really hardworking, grateful contributor for your business.
yeah.
Now, did you
Oh yeah.
train your virtual assistants yourself?
I actually did. I trained my virtual assistants in my previous life. I was a consultant. So I did a lot of these
That's right. I
program
remember that.
design, and so I train. I developed my own training program, systematize it. So people come and go, and if they leave, I can bring somebody in, just slot them right into that training
Mhm,
program
mhm.
or hiring program that I designed. So it's working okay so far. My goal is that not only for them to kind of take up this task from me, because I think at the point where they can do it better than me, but also just kind of provide them with support, with, like you said, a source of income, that they can rely on for years to come. So
Yeah. Well, you're building a beautiful business, man. So, what are some numbers that you don't mind sharing with us? Get into some specifics for us.
yeah, not at all. So we started at end of 2020. 2021 is the first full year of our business. We cleared $300,000 that year, and so this is the second year, 2022. We're about to clear, I think, about 450,000. So going about 50%, and I think forecasting next year is going to be about the same growth, 50% or more. So that's through some of that through wholesale business, but we started looking into other opportunities as well.
What's your
So
net
yeah,
margins on that 450?
the margin right now is about 8% of the for the business. Trying to look for ways to kind of uh, cut some of the fat out. Before is really focusing on grow, 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 and so there's a lot of inefficiency, I would say. For example, just running a business on Amazon, there are a lot of leakage. Products get lost. you know, listings gets deactivated, things like that. You have to keep track of them, but sometimes I
Yeah.
don't.
Are you
Yeah.
being intentional about reimbursements and keeping track of what Amazon owes you on all those things? Do you have a service, or because we're actually rolling up right now? I don't know if you've heard
Oh,
yet, but our virtual assistant team is introducing soon a service that does all that for you and really digs deep on that. Are you spending
okay.
time on that, getting a check from Amazon for little errors and things?
I've used the service for the past year or so. We're looking for actually new service. So I'm glad you brought it up, Jen, because I thought there'd be the areas that they can improve on. So
Yeah, well, Kyle on our team is working on it along with Gary and Gay Mosley, and they're really dialing it up right now.
uh,
They're getting incredible results for, in many cases, it because right now we're kind of rolling it out to our team, to coaches, right? Which you're one now, and so we're kind of like they're our guinea pigs as we kind of dig into their businesses. Some of them are using other services, and they're getting significantly bigger numbers back. So yeah, just when you're trying to recapture that margin and grow that total net margin number, that's a really good way to do it. Is to make sure you're getting everything Amazon owes you, basically,
right.
because there's several reimbursements they just won't give you unless you dig deep and ask for them.
Yeah, right, right, exactly, exactly. So yeah, that's
Very
good to
good.
know.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to help that. And we can talk offline about that one for sure and make sure we get you in there as soon
Yeah,
as possible. Yeah, Kyle, Gary, and Gay are the ones working on that. So we'll be introducing you very soon and get you into the group. We've got a Facebook group just for coaches, and
okay, yeah,
get you into that group, get you plugged in, and start to see the things that are 3 to 6 months before they happen to the rest of the community. We're testing them out and working on them together. It's a great group to be in. Well, tell us a little bit more about your business. Are we leaving any pieces out here? Anything else going
yeah.
on, or anything else in the works?
So the one area that we're working on, we put a lot of focus on is on a wholesale, basically buying directly from wholesalers, distributors, and brands. And I got into that through Rich Potter's program. So it's also something that Send Sales Machine offered. My mastermind group started talking about, hey, look, we should do this program together as a group, which was good. It provided accountability. It wasn't just another learning program. So we kind of laid it out. We would complete the course within 6 weeks, and actually took actions. So I think that's the most important part with these courses, is that you can take them and they're great content, but if you don't have an action plan, right after, like strike that iron while it's hot, it just kind of can fizzle out pretty easily because there's so many ideas, right? There's so many shiny new things out there. If you don't actually act on it right away, then it kind of goes away. So Rich's course was fantastic. It provided a really good framework and a blueprint on how to build a business from wholesale. So I
Yeah,
followed his prescription and started building it from there.
beautiful. When did that start? About how long ago?
So that started. We all of us took the course end of last year, and I started the wholesale thing around June, May timeframe of this year. So
Okay,
since then, it's been 5, 6 months since I started expanding that part of the business. Right now, we have 18 wholesalers and
nice.
brands that we work with, that we buy. Well, we buy from 10, and the rest of them, it's gotten to the point where it's beyond our capacity, and just analyzing the catalogs and then buying from them. So not just the time and analyzing the catalogs, but also the capital. If we want to be able to buy from all of them, it's going to require a higher capital threshold.
Ah,
So
okay. We can talk
yeah,
about that as well and make sure we're exploring all the possibilities
yeah,
there. But let me just fill the listeners in for a moment, Steve. I love this. I love the story, buddy. So you mentioned Rich Potter's wholesale course. That's yet another great module inside the Proven Amazon course. It's called Proven Wholesale Sourcing. It is sold separately at provenwholesalesourcing.com, but as a subscriber to Proven Amazon course, that's one of the modules that was tagged on not too long ago, and it's tremendous. And it's basically a system for contacting wholesalers and going through their catalogs, finding the winners methodically, and using a REPLENS mindset, the foundational mindset of REPLENS that you learn very early in this community, to look for big opportunities. You're not bringing new products to the market, correct, Steve? You're just looking for winners that already have some momentum, and you're coming in alongside, in some cases, other sellers who already have momentum. and selling on those
Yeah.
brands. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jim. I mean, it's basically another way to find more replens
Mm-hmm.
at a cheaper cost
Yep.
and reliable sources, because buying from, Walmart and Target sometimes can be a little dicey. Not
Yeah.
They don't always get delivered.
Yeah,
With
sure. And that's the low hanging fruit too, so
right,
you're going to see more sellers potentially on the same listings and that sort of
right,
thing. But part of the beauty of getting into that wholesale, again, that's the proven wholesale sourcing module inside the proven Amazon course, or sold as a separate course if you want to go check it out. It's a lot more money if you do it that way. But that teaches you how to find that it's kind of like climbing up in the tree instead of going after the low hanging fruit. You're climbing up into the tree a little bit, and
yeah,
you're getting a little more experience, a little more. You're getting out of the noise, getting off the beaten path, sort of thing.
yeah,
Congratulations, that's beautiful. So it sounds to me like in 2023, as this year's winding down, here we are towards the end of November 2022.
yeah.
2023 is right around the corner. You're going to be focusing more on the wholesale. Is that one of your strategies that you plan to put more time and energy into?
Yeah, that's one of them. And the other focus that we'll be working on is the brand registry. So as we start growing the wholesale business, there's a few private label opportunities that came up. That was actually offered to us from the wholesalers, and I don't know if I have an eye for a good private label product, but I you know I was told that the first thing you got to do is really you got to register your brand, especially nowadays. Amazon values brands, so
Yes.
I started getting ready for that. Reached out to Hummingbird and spoke to Matt Thompson
Hmm.
about
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So just kind of started getting ready. We're a bit far from it, I would say at this point. There are a few things that we have to do, but it's good to start getting ready for Q1 of next year.
For sure. And just to fill in the listeners again, what's Hummingbird? What do you say? Well, Hummingbird.
Humming,
I'll stick a link in the web to the notes to the website. But
yeah.
yeah,
So
Hummingbird is
Hummingbird,
our brand registry trademark, content creation service. Set up a
mhm,
website for you. Just help when you're trying to get a brand established. And I love too. Let me just back up a little bit before I dive into the weeds on what that is. I love that you've kind of slowly graduated into thinking about private label. You're doing it the right way. You're developing instincts. You've got some success and momentum. You got to coming up on $500,000 rolling year total sales. Now you can start thinking, okay, where's some of these opportunities for me to launch a brand, get brand registered on Amazon, get a trademark, talk to our team at Hummingbird. There's a link in the show notes. I'm not going to dive real deep into what all they do, but basically, when you're ready to start thinking private label and graduate into having your own products, although we have some people, they're not launching their own products, Steve. I'm sure you heard of this. They're just creating bundles
mhm,
under their own brand, like
right.
snack boxes, Steve's movie night snack box. And you've got brands everyone will recognize, and maybe another something that you add in there, a customized popcorn box or something with your logo on it. And there's your unique product that no one else can sell against. You're brand registered, you're trademarked. You've got all the common brands that people would recognize in the box with your branded popcorn box. And now you've got something that only you can sell, and you understand the landscape.
Mhm,
So there's opportunities like that too. And we're seeing more and more of our experienced, mature replens sellers in our community start to think about those kind of things as well as continue to track down those great low hanging fruit replen opportunities. So I love to hear you kind of thinking in that direction. You're really kind of exploring in multiple directions because you've got a great team that allows you to do it.
right, right, absolutely. Yeah.
We'll get back to the program in just a second, but I want to tell you about some features included in a software tool called Sellerboard. It's time for you to know your numbers. Get over to silentjimdotcom/numbers and check out the special offer that we have for this community with Sellerboard. Starting at just $15 a month, you can get a suite of powerful tools that not only help you understand all your numbers, but give you follow-up email tools, review request campaigns, inventory management, reimbursements for lost and damaged stock and FBA errors, listing change alerts. Wouldn't it be nice to know if one of the listings you're selling on has changed You can get those alerts with Sellerboard. Pay-per-click bid and keyword optimization, much more. It's a very robust package at a very low price with a great special offer for listeners to this show. If you're an Amazon seller and you don't know your numbers, you need Sellerboard. Get over to silentjimdotcom/numbers and check it out. Let's get back to the show. I love to hear you kind of thinking in that direction. You're really kind of exploring in multiple directions because you've got a great team that allows you to do it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
And
how
it
many
kind
hours a
of
week?
comes full circle.
Yeah, exactly. How many hours a week
Yeah.
would you say you're putting into your business?
I would say I'm right now putting in about 20 to 25 hours a week into the business. And I would say I'm putting a little bit more hours into it in the beginning, the first year. So it's kind of gradually spending less time on some of the more repetitive tasks. That was really helpful. I mean, the VAs took care of a lot of that. And also my wife is helping. So yeah, she had no idea what this Amazon business is about. But, we thought eventually we might still come back to her beauty supplement idea. And now that we have more knowledge, we can evaluate, first of all, whether or not it's still a good idea. And if it's a good idea, how do we go about, approaching it and launching a new product and brand? Again, it's still really risky, but at least we are more prepared to do something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've built a beautiful foundation. You have a great team, and the future looks very bright for you. Sky's the limit, I started to say. But you started talking about a little bit about funding. Tell me what you've explored there. What options are in front of you to get more funding? Because correct me if I'm wrong. Are you finding more opportunity than you can pursue right now as far as profitable products?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, there are two challenges growth challenges that we have currently. I would say one is there are too many. As we was talking to more and more wholesalers, I had to kind of put a stop on signing up new wholesalers because you can't order from them. There's no point in signing up new ones. So I have no bandwidth to analyze more these catalogs. Some of them are 8,000, 9,000 products. So there's a lot of products. I mean, even with software, it still takes time to go through them. And the other part is what you mentioned, Jim, is on the capital part. So even if we have all these listings, we identify all the right products to sell, we have to buy them in cases or pallets. And that requires, a fund. So what I started doing a couple of weeks ago, I started looking into the Amazon lending program and as one avenue. Before, we're just using our credit cards, we're paying it off as we go. Interest rate can be high, and there's some challenges, I think, using credit cards. Like one of them was exposed to frauds. I wasn't sure if it's because of all this purchase that we've done online, but with a lending program, actually made it a little easier. We're able to buy more and just kind of pay out as we go. So I'm exploring other avenue as well currently.
Have you heard us talk about AccrueMe? Has that name come across your radar yet?
No, actually, I haven't. No.
Cool. Well, yeah, let's talk about them for just a moment.
Sure.
They're a great sponsor of this community, but I would love them even if they weren't sponsoring us because they have the most unique funding strategy that I've seen. There's, for those who want to hear a discussion I had with the founder of that organization, you can go to silentjim.com/funding, silentjim.com/funding, and hear the discussion we had. Now, like I said, they are a sponsor of this group, and they've got a special deal set up. I think they give you $500 on top of whatever funding they give you, just as a gift card for signing up with them. But here's what makes them special and different. They slide you a pile of cash and say, keep it as long as you want. There's no interest accruing. That pile of cash is based on how much inventory you have, by the way. And as your business grows, you can at any point in time give them their principal back, plus a percent of how much your business has grown since they gave you the money. It's a really cool arrangement that takes all the pressure out of, oh, I got to make my payment this month. Oh no, do I have, when's Amazon going to pay me? I got to cut a check to my lender. It takes all that out. They have people who have literally rolled that pile of money over and just let it, AccrueMe will give you more money as your business grows. And they just roll it over. And then at some point they're like, okay, I think I'm going to take my business back. 100%. Here, accrue me. Here's all the money I owe you that you've given me over the years, all your principal. And my
Mhm.
business has grown significant amount. Here's your percentage of that on top. And that's how they make their money, is when you
Mhm.
grow. It's a
Mhm.
really cool model. So I encourage you to
Yeah.
reach out to them, have a conversation, tell them we sent you. And
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
they absolutely love replens and wholesale sellers from our community, because they know they're getting very good foundational training, and their odds of success are high if they follow the path that we lay down. They even go to, they told me, you can tell this story, Jim, but don't tell people which conferences we've been at. But they go to private label conferences and people get all excited, like, hey, can you lend me a bunch of money? I want to launch a private label brand. And like, you know what? Go talk to these guys over here. Go listen to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Start with replens, scale up slow, learn the platform, learn the landscape, and then we'll start sliding you some money, and we don't want you rolling the dice. Like if you'd approached Accrue Me 2 years ago with your wife's vitamin idea, they would not have funded that.
No.
Too big of a
Right,
risk, right?
right, right, right.
But
Right.
now if you approach them, having sold, 450K this year and good outlook for next year, yeah, they're going to give you a nice check, man, and you can keep it as
Yeah.
long as you want to use it. So
I like that. Basically, they become a business partner. I mean, they're
absolutely.
invested in your success,
Hmm.
right?
And
I
they
think it's
they
very
see your numbers and they want to know how it's going and they monitor the situation. But yeah, I think you'd enjoy that interview with the founder of AccrueMe. I can't recall his name off the top of my head right now, but just a real solid guy. We had a real good chat. I think I actually even taught him a couple things, and he definitely taught me a few really cool things too, just about the world of money and finance and business. It was a cool chat with a guy who's he's sitting on, no, can't remember what the number was, hundreds of millions of dollars or something that he could tap into if he needs it. And their
Mhm.
favorite place to slide money, because people who sit on a lot of money, their job is finding places to put it where it grows instead of shrinks, right? I mean,
Right,
that's the
right,
job.
right,
So
right.
the place they're most excited about sliding that money is small Amazon sellers. Guys like
Right,
you,
right.
guys like me, and guys, listeners to this community who are building Amazon businesses, they love putting money into those businesses because they know the odds of it growing over time is significant.
Right, right. Yeah, I definitely need to reach out. It's a
Yeah.
great timing too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm glad we were able to mention that. It's because it's always funny to me, Steve. I mean, here you are, you've been in our community a couple of years. You were in a mastermind based on one of the things we put together. And these companies that I've talked about, I feel like I've talked about AccrueMe, I don't know, 150 times around here, but it just has never quite slid past your radar, as plugged in as you are around here. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's always value in just connecting and gathering. And it's evidence of the
Hmm.
point you made earlier. Maybe you can put into words for me the value of being in a mastermind of other people who are from this community. You guys kind of organically formed that. You
Yeah.
meet. There's no one from our official team that pushed you into that. You guys just
Right.
decided to start doing it because you were all in the same course at the same time.
Right.
Describe for me the value of that.
I mean, it was incredibly valuable, and to be very frank, I'm very grateful that it's lasted as long as it had, and I'm sure it's gonna keep on going for a while. I mean, one thing one value is that the knowledge that different mastermind members share just amongst each other, because we all come from different backgrounds, we've seen different things, and we know different people, and just kind of coming together on a weekly basis, talking about our challenges, our goals. That was hugely helpful. We started the group sharing our goals and our plans for the next quarter. So we started doing this thing called a 12-week year. I don't know if you've heard of it, Jim, but basically it's truncated whatever you want to do in a year into a quarter. So like 12 weeks. And so instead of 12 months, 12 weeks. And we monitor each other's progress. We share the challenges and such. So that was really helpful. And then eventually started evolving into different topics. So we'll pick different topics for the week and then we'll discuss them. So there's also accountability that comes with it. And I think sometimes with this business, it can be kind of lonely. It's I mean, as it is with a lot of entrepreneur ventures. If you don't have a group that you belong to, you're kind of can be a very lonely situation. So having that group, just kind of share each other's thoughts, successes. I think those That was very helpful. It's something I look forward to on a weekly basis. I try to attend them. Even if I'm on vacation, I'm trying to be on the weekly call. I just want to give a shout out to the group. I mean, Stephen Alshabrook, Stephen Schreier, Jason Marshall, Doug Hampshire, Jimmy Lanton, guys who are like super helpful, incredibly knowledgeable. It's a relationship that you carry on, hopefully for the rest of your life. So
Yeah, absolutely. Some incredible friendships form out of
yeah.
that. I was listening to my favorite living author, my good friend, Rabbi Daniel Lapin here not too long ago had an episode. And one of the things he mentioned, I thought it was a brilliant illustration of kind of the power of collaborating. He said, by ourselves, we're all capable of sitting down and coming up with a certain number of good ideas per hour, just to our own, left to our own. He's like, think of it almost like a die, it's got six sides. Say, I can come up with six decent ideas in an hour if I just block out the world and sit quietly and brainstorm and think.
Mm.
And you're over there by yourself doing the same thing, and you could come up with six ideas. But you get the two of us together, and suddenly it's like the number of combinations multiply. So now instead of your six and my six equaling 12, it's six times six. There's a multiplication factor there. So now we've got 36 potential great new ideas, not just 12 new ideas, 36, because there's two of us. You add a third person in and you multiply it by six again. It's that kind of exponential curve that you start to see from the power of these groups. And so not only is it dangerous and toxic to isolate, but you're missing out on so many great ideas. I mean, just like that Akrumi idea that I shot your way, you may or may not end up going with them. But if you do, we could easily look back 2 years from now and go, wow, have those two guys not had that conversation at that point in time?
Right.
You might have put it all on some, 14% interest credit card and been sweating the payment every month instead of,
Right.
And you look at the growth curve over time too, when you don't owe an accumulating interest rate and a payment that constantly has to be made, they let that money just sit there and grow because they're keeping an eye on your business and they're comfortable doing so. So that little tip could be a big difference between where you are, a couple of years from now, and where you would have been otherwise. So that's the value of collaborating and spending time. Yeah, I would even be so bold to say that if you aren't doing that, you're cutting your odds of success down probably by about 70 or 80%.
Yeah.
Just, trying to plow through on your own, listen to podcast episodes, keep putting tape on boxes, keep plowing forward, keep the routine rolling, no new relationships. Man, that is a rough road. I think a lot of people that struggle with this business, that's the road they're on, and that's why they're struggling.
Yeah. I would say if I didn't have help, the support from the community, it wasn't just the mastermind group, but also from the greater community of Silent Sales Machine. I'll just be on this hamster wheel, just finding new products to sell, find products, just be two activities I'll be doing on a daily basis, just kind of churning and churning.
Yep.
Without scaling, at the end of the day, it becomes another job. So I don't want it to be another job. I mean, I think this should be, I should be building a business that's growing. So it's
like you said earlier,
right,
the more valuable you are to your business, the less valuable your business is. I love that. And that's the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Like if I don't keep this wheel spinning, the lights are all going to go off. So I got to run hard, run fast, sleep just a little bit and a little time for family and then back on the wheel, buddy.
Yeah.
No, you can do that period of intense, sustained effort for a short period of time. And it's almost necessary. But if you find yourself there a year in, man, that is rough. Burnout happens by around year 2 or so. You're done. You're toast. You can't do it very long. You need people. You need systems. You need to scale, step away, put other people in place. And you've done that brilliantly. You've got a great foundation for a very bright future. And I'm so excited to have you as the latest coach on our team, kind of jumping in and starting to help our community. We're well over 60 coaches at this point, and demonstrated that you've got a successful business. You've got a teacher's heart. You love learning. You love teaching, sharing what you know. You're pro mastermind. You're pro hanging out with other people. And you're gonna make a brilliant fit to the team, buddy. I'm excited to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's an honor. It's my honor, man. I learned from every single one of you guys. I think I talked to 3 different coaches today, checking in, just getting little updates. And it's just the best part of my day, hearing how their business is going, how students are doing. It's a fun gig. Well, what else is on your list that we haven't hit yet? Anything else that you had on your mind today that you want to share with the listeners, or any questions for me? Anything else that we could kind of tackle together with the time we have? What else is on
Uh,
your list?
well, Jim, I mean, you touched on a lot of things. You even, kind of directed me to where I need to find solutions to some of the challenges I have. I mean, at this point, I don't have any more questions, but I just want to say thank you, for creating this community. It's been hugely helpful. I mean, I've been in a lot of different communities, and sometimes kind of a zero sum game with members. I mean, a lot of people are in there just take, take, take. It's more cutthroat, but I think Silent Sales Machine community, people are a lot more willing to share. I mean, just out of the good of their hearts, just to help each other. Especially starting a business is really scary, especially even with Amazon. As easy as Amazon is, selling on Amazon is, it's still scary. I mean, you don't know where you're going. You don't know if you're going to run into a problem. You don't know if your account's going to get suspended. But knowing that there are people supporting you, if you need something, and it's usually very timely, it's reassuring and kind of give you the comfort that you can continue to grow and scale and have time for your family. At the end of the day, there are other priorities in life. It's really about be able to do those and just building the business. So
Fantastic. I appreciate that, man. I'm going to ask you a question, just a bit of a
yeah,
bit of a possible brain teaser to help me think through something. Because as I was listening to you say these things about the community being generous and open-handed and just the goodness of their heart, kind of thing, right?
yeah,
I'm thinking to myself, that's true. There are a lot of really good people, but
right,
it's actually a very self-serving thing
yes,
for us to be abundant mindset, for us to be generous with our time and our energy, for us to answer the same question 1,000 times a day. There's a self-serving element there that some people might miss. And I wanted to ask you, Steve, can you connect those dots? Do you know what that is? I mean, because I'll tell you what it is because I've been doing it for a while now. Like, if you given the option between keeping all your secrets close to your chest and making sure no one competes with you and kind of undermining your competitors, you'd think that's the way to get ahead,
yeah.
but it's not. So why is it? How is it that being so open-handed and abundance mindset and helping everybody, how is that self-serving? Do you know
You,
where
you
I'm
know,
going with that?
yeah, I do, and I think give it a shot in answering that. I think you touched on abundance, but I think especially in an Amazon business, it's a pie that continues to grow, and so and I think the more you share, the more you get back. It is selfish, I think, in a way that when you help somebody, it feels satisfying. So that satisfaction, the sense of satisfaction, it's something that you can feel, and so I think it's selfish in that way. Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, be able to help somebody, knowing that you can help them along and improve on their business. I think that's very, 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 very satisfying thing
Yeah,
to do. That's why I signed
it
up
does.
to be a coach.
It does leave you feeling better than if you would
Yeah,
say, if I'd given you some really bad advice,
yeah,
hoping to undermine you because good, there's one less competitor I have to deal with, right? You think, well, I don't feel very good after doing that. So it does feel good to help others. But I'm thinking something even more measurable.
mm,
We could put this on a chart. And here's the thing: I'll make a couple different points with this. And I'm doing a series. Maybe this thought process would be better on my leadership series on this podcast, but here
mm,
we go. So when we spent time, let's say it was a couple of years ago, and you came in with all the same questions we've asked over and over and over again, that we've heard 1,000 times, and we spent the time and we took the time and we held your hand and we went through that with you. We were investing in a future leader. Now, not everyone is a future leader, but the ratio of future leaders that emerge around here when we take the time to treat people with kindness and care and compassion, it's not just because we're good people. It's because,
mhm,
man, one out of every 50 or so people, their business pops in such a way and they're so excited and they're in this amazing testimonial and they are a coach on our team and they're a content creator and they're on stage at an event, and it's an investment. It's like we're
right,
planting seeds almost, and in a very self-serving way. We're like, yeah, okay, it's time to go water the garden and plant some seeds again, knowing full well that that crop that comes later is going to be amazing. The leaders and the good people. And the other thing I've noticed too is there's a couple different ways you can run a community. I've seen it done many different ways. We leave a lot of room on the stage around here, if you know what I'm saying.
mm,
As these leaders emerge, we want them thinking, I want to be a part of what's happening here. Not, oh, those people gave me as little as possible. I can't wait to get away from them and not need them anymore and kind of go do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
We want them thinking, man, I want to give into this community. I want to pour back into this community. I want to be on the stage one day. I want to speak at the event. I want to be on the podcast. So we want those leaders wanting to be here, if that makes sense. So that's the other way it's self-serving. When we treat people really well and we treat them better, the closer they get to the kind of the core, they want to be in that core. They want to stick around. So that's my answer to it, Steve. But I was just kind of curious how you'd process going through that, because you're the one that brought it up, and how open-handed this community is. And I completely agree. I mean, I get my challenges solved creatively through this community. And a lot of times it's the brand new people too.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have a new perspective and a new way to rephrase the same question we've been asking a while that opens up ideas.
Right.
Yeah, success is like candlelight, not cake, meaning we can all have as much as we want. It's not like a cake where you and I get a big piece and there's nothing left for anyone else. We just don't see it that way, and that's paid huge dividends. So thanks for letting me soapbox a minute on you there, Steve. But I wanted to make those 2 points because you kind of set me up very well for it. But besides that, how open-handed and helpful this community is, and how we've all benefited from it. What else is on your mind, if anything, as we start to wrap this one up?
As a new coach, I'm just looking forward to hopefully help a few students with what I know. But I know that, going back to the community again, I mean, there's a coaching community that I can tap into by any support and help as well. Obviously, I don't know everything, but, just with the group, the power of the group, hopefully, we can cover every area that the students needs help in, needs support in. So, just excited. I mean, just continue to grow the community and continue to grow my business.
Yeah, we will benefit from you joining the team, and I think you'll benefit as well from the experience of being around all these great folks. And like you said too, that's some of the new content I always go over with our new coaches is when we have our meeting with new coaches coming on board. Is you're not doing this alone. You've got a group of people way smarter than me, a bunch of them who've been doing this a long time, there to help you with any challenges you encounter or your student encounters. I guarantee you we're going to brainstorm at least 10 solutions to any challenge you hit if you bring it to the group, because we've been doing this a while, and there's some really smart, creative people in this group. So yeah, that is a huge benefit. And I'll stop there. I'm not going to soapbox again. I'm very proud of this team though. I really am. And it's an honor to add you on board as well. All right, Steve. Well, it's been good hanging out with you, buddy. And I really appreciate it. What time is it there? You're in Taiwan right now. Typically you're in Malaysia, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, who's that popping on the screen? If you're watching on YouTube, who we got?
He just woke up. Sorry.
Oh, so it's early.
My son, I got three boys. So,
buddy,
he just woke up.
That's great. It's time to go do dad duty. It's early morning there, late here. We're about 12 hours apart, aren't we? I really appreciate you getting up early and doing this.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It truly was an honor. Yeah, God bless you, buddy. Well, let's wrap this one up, man. I'm going to talk to the listeners, and you can go do breakfast with the kiddos. That was so cute. The viewers on YouTube would have seen this. If you're just listening, one of Steve's kids walked in and like, "Hey, Dad, all right, let's get the day going here, buddy. What are you doing?" It was great.
Probably send by the mom.
Send him to mom. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, thanks for hanging out with us today. I hope you benefited at least half as much as I did hanging out with Steve today. Learned some great stuff, talked through his business. I'm inspired. Hopefully you are as well. If you want to hear a whole bunch of episodes like this, you can scroll back in time on our channel. Go to silentjimdotcom, or if you're watching on YouTube, just scroll back and watch some of the videos. We've got hundreds of interviews with our successful students from our community who have built incredible businesses all over the world, just like Steve today. So thanks again, Steve. You did a great job today, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate
it was really cool hanging out with you, buddy. It was such a pleasure. And to all the business building warriors out there, thank you. Thank you, Steve. Hey, it's almost Thanksgiving too, man. You guys celebrate that?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Awesome. Beautiful. And to all the business building warriors out there who are watching and listening, until next time, know that we're praying for you. We're rooting for you. We're here for you. If we can be in any way, please reach out, and we'll have another good episode very soon. Talk to you then. Hey, thanks for hanging out today. Before I let you go, one short reminder. We are so grateful to our new sponsor to this program, Seller Board. If you haven't checked them out yet, get over to silentjim.com/numbers. This is the software that tells you if you're profitable or not. It helps you track all of your expenses, your KPIs, sales, refunds, advertising costs, all of it. Profit,
loss. This is tremendous software that fills a gap in the marketplace. Many successful sellers in our community are using this tool to help them know which of their products are profitable and which ones aren't. You'll love Sellerboard. For just $15 a month starting, you can really dial in and know how your business is doing. silentjimdotcom/numbers. Talk to you next time.